So Anna and I just met and I was having a chance to get to know her brand, and there was so many synergies between her story and what I see day in, day out with the brands that we support at Mindful Good. So I wanted to make sure that we captured this and got it on camera as like a truly authentic conversation. So tell me again, let's just like take a step back and just tell me again about your brand. How was it born? How did it come to be?
So I am the co-founder of Binibi, and we are a bilingual children's book brand that makes books that make sound and have music on every page and supports Spanish learning for kids from the moment that they're born. Why? Because that's when a child develops language, and that's when their brain is most ripe for language development. We started the company a few years back when my first daughter was born. I'm originally from Latin America. I'm from El Salvador. I grew up bilingual, speaking Spanish at home and English at school, and being bilingual completely changed my life. And when she was born, I wanted the same thing for her, but like, of course, I didn't know how to raise a bilingual child. And so I looked far and wide for resources. I think to nobody's surprise except mine, like, you need to read to your children for them to learn. And so with that, dove into the world of books and discovered that there was this huge gap in the bilingual market, particularly in my case, like books in Spanish for kids that were appropriate for that age. And so with all of that knowledge, launched Binibi to address this gap that we saw in the market for parents that were raising bilingual children like myself.
You finally got your product together. I'm sure that was a huge effort that you put forth. And then when it came to actually getting sales online, did you start with a website? Did you start with Amazon? Like, what was your thinking there? Did you do both? Tell me about your thought process.
Yeah, so initially we crowdfunded the idea to get enough, money to buy our first batch of inventory, which was more expensive than we thought it would be. But, you live and you learn. And then we launched our own website. And very quickly, we realized we just didn't have the marketing budget to drive enough traffic, to drive enough conversion to build a sustainable business. And so we discovered Amazon afterwards and launched on Amazon, and, immediately found a national audience was already searching for our product. And so with that, leveraged the momentum that we saw, the interest in our product that we found, and since then have been focused on scaling our business on Amazon.
Oh, that's interesting. We actually see that quite often too, right? Like, we've had a couple different clients in that scenario where a client launched their own website and they were actually doing quite well. And then when they went to launch on Amazon, they weren't doing well. And then we realized we had to help them set up their listings properly, revise the content. And once we did, their sales went through the roof, right? Then we've had the flip side of that, where we've had brands in your similar situation where they launch their website, realize it's going to be time intensive and such a huge effort, and maybe it's not even their expertise. So for them to sell on Amazon, they'll get that organic traffic right away, and that cash flow can fund the ads, so they're able to keep growing.
Exactly.
When brands are first getting started, there can be a huge learning curve to Amazon, right? And not only that, you're watching YouTube videos or you're trying to learn all the things. It seems like there's 150 things to be doing at all times. So oftentimes I kind of help recenter them and say, if you think about Amazon in two buckets, there's traffic and there's conversion. And so when you think about traffic, you're thinking about ads and driving traffic, right? Like, that's really the vehicle there. And then when you think about conversion, you're going back to your content. Like, did you set up your listings properly? Do you have SEO in there? Do you have creatives that are compelling? When you were launching, what was your experience there? And were you focused on one versus the other? What did you do?
You don't know what you don't know. So when we first launched on Amazon, we built out our product detail pages, and they were not very good, I'll admit, because we didn't know they were not very good. We found out with time. But we waited almost a year to try ads. But once we did, our skills just catapulted, and we were able really to scale the business. But I'd say to any person launching a business on Amazon, like, make sure you're building your brand. And once we realized that we needed to do that, we created beautiful product imagery. We added the brand story, the A+ content, the brand store, and all of that really helped us grow a lot.
And that's an attribute to the people who say that you can't be successful on Amazon without ads. There's so many brands that launch on Amazon the way that you did, that get their footing right and then do ads just a little bit later once they're more comfortable, once they understand what's working and what's not working. So it is still possible to be successful on Amazon without running ads right away. Even though people love to talk about the honeymoon period of getting an initial traffic boost, there are other ways.
I'd say that Amazon ads have certainly been like a critical part in our growth. However, being successful on Amazon is a holistic effort. You need to make sure that your product detail pages are right, that you have your brand store, that you've done all of those things, but also that, you're using FBA, that you are planning your inventory correctly. And so it's truly a holistic effort.
And when you were working on your listings, for a lot of brands, it's kind of like a set and they walk away. Like, I kind of did that, I'm moving on to the next thing. How has that been for you? Has it been a continual process, or has it been kind of like in stages, or because it is a lot of effort?
My view is that you can always be better. And so we leverage the tools that we have on Amazon. There's an amazing A/B testing tool where you can always test different things on your page, be it an image, be it content, be it your bullet points. And so we're constantly testing and making sure that we always have the most optimized content available. So for us, it's an iterative process. It will never end, but it's always about improving and meeting our audience where they want us.
One thing that I've noticed when I looked at your listings, and I look at listings all day, every day, so it's like really hard to impress me, but your listings are bright, colorful, not just kid friendly, they're parent friendly. When you were creating your content, what was that like for you? Is that what you started with out the gate? How many times have you updated it? What are you doing when you're updating your creative content?
First of all, thank you. I'm very flattered. We work really hard on our brand. When you think about success, like we are, at the end of the day, we sell a book. There's thousands of books out there. There's thousands of options, extraordinarily competitive market. But what you can do and what you can control as a business owner is that brand experience your customer has that will get them to buy the product, but then experience the product and keep them coming back. And so building our brand has always been a top priority because it's how we are differentiated. So from the beginning, we set out to create a brand that was playful and modern and clean and that would attract the buyer who's the parent, but then that the kid would love. And so the process has certainly been iterative, but our brand from the beginning has always had those principles. So I'm glad you felt that when you saw it. But, you know, every time we get better, we polish it. We make things pop a little bit more. We make things stand out a little bit more as we learn more about what people are looking for.
How often are you refreshing your content? Are you doing it like quarterly? Are you doing it annually? What is your process?
We are starting to have a process. We didn't have one initially. We try to do it seasonally. So obviously for the holidays, we'll update absolutely everything. So that's our biggest season, but we do anything like summer, we'll update it for summer. And we're constantly testing things. We're testing our bullet points, we're testing our product images. And so as soon as we see something that performs better, we just change it. So I would say maybe quarterly, but it's a constant process.
I love that. And one of the things that you mentioned is that you're using Manager Experiments, which is one of my favorite tools. I recommend that brands are refreshing one big refresh annually and that they're using Manager Experiments to be testing throughout the year so that you can do those summer refreshes or the seasonal content changes or any other kind of testing that you see from any data that you're pulling throughout the year in that tool. How often are you using that tool?
At least once a quarter. It takes us a bit to run an experiment. So I would say at least once a quarter, but we're doing it once a quarter for different products. So we're running multiple experiments at the same time.
So most brands that we work with, I would say at least 50% of them don't have premium A+ content on their listing. So this is one thing that I was so happy to see that you have already gotten access to. You've uploaded content for it. It looks great. How was that process for you of getting access? Do you find it difficult? What I've heard is that people don't know it's there or that they don't think it's for them. Like they don't think they qualify for it.
I read all of the newsletters that I get from Amazon and like they're always telling us things there. So I found out about A+ content, I have to say over a year ago. And to qualify for it, however, you needed to do certain things. So once I found out that it existed and it was recommended, it would drive conversion, I made sure to do all the things that we needed to do. And once we did, we got access and we launched it. And it's been amazing because it's so much more dynamic.
And if you really want to know what to do, because it's actually really simple and I don't want to gatekeep, the only requirements is that you have to be a registered brand with Amazon. So you have to have a trademark, go through that process. And then within your A+ content section on your Seller Central dashboard, you'll be able to actually meet the requirements. So what you have to do is submit at least 10 versions of your A+ content. It doesn't have to be 10 different SKUs. You basically take one set of A+ content that you apply to one ASIN or one SKU, and then you're just going to duplicate and submit. Right now, I think the minimum is you have to submit it at least 5 times, but do it 15 times for good measure. And the second requirement is that you have your brand story applied to every ASIN in your catalog. So just make sure that you've uploaded at least one brand story, apply it to all your ASINs. And here's the pro tip here. if you have not already created all your content for your brand story or your A+ content, don't overthink it if you're trying to unlock this amazing tool. Just put in a lifestyle image as a filler image while your designer is designing your content, and you can replace it later. The benefit here is that you're getting that process going and that you're unlocking it so that when your creatives are ready, you can just go in and upload it. That process should take about a week to 2 weeks. With your A+ content, did you start with premium or did you already have basic? And what was it like transitioning?
So we already had the basic one.
Okay.
And transitioning, I thought it was fun because there was like more modules and you could do more things with it. So you could get more creative, but it was an easy process. I mean, you have to design for each module, obviously, but other than that, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. For me, what I love about Premium A+ is that it gives you way more control and it allows you to stop the scroll and feel like you have an entire landing page on your product page. And if you don't know, that is like one of the #1 ways that you can get some extra conversions on your listing, because it's the last thing that people will see before they actually hit the review. So you're getting a chance for them to digest a few more pieces of content and hopefully get that person to add it to cart before they hit the review. So highly recommend doing that. You can add full-scale video in there. You can add hotspots, carousels, much more engaging content, and it's a seamless flow top to bottom. The final pro tip that I have there, or the biggest benefit that you'll see with Premium A+, is that you can upload 2 sets of content. You can have a desktop set of content and a mobile set of content so that the 70% of mobile shoppers are seeing a fine-tuned, beautiful landing page on their phone versus a desktop size page. So much more easier for them to digest and much more conversions at the end of the day for you.
Which is what we all want.
Well, thank you for joining me. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.